Peace and elevation, family. It's your brother Mike X. Just wanted to drop this quick message. Right now, I'm sitting in my car in the hood. You know what I mean? In Brooklyn. You know, in the Nostrand Avenue, Atlantic Avenue area. You know what I mean? And I just wanted to share this message right quick because, we've been talking about gentrification. We've been talking about the takeover of traditionally black neighborhoods, politically and economically, and what comes next is socially, the social takeover. Once your neighborhood is taken over politically and economically, the next step is to remove you socially, to get you up out of here. You know what I mean? So I came out, to Brooklyn, and I always, when I come out, I stop at a particular cultural store, that sells books, that sells incense, that sells oils, that sends African apparel, you know what I mean, and clothing, that sells crystals and the like, you know what I mean? And I came up in the store and I spent a significant amount of money, and I didn't feel welcome, man. No one basically, well, it was one brother who welcomed me, you know what I mean? Who was standing outside the store. But once I went in the store, I didn't feel welcome, I didn't feel welcome vibrationally, you know what I mean? And I didn't feel welcome verbally, And, a lot is made out of the necessity for black people to enter into business and commerce, particularly in their own neighborhoods, and I can rock with that because I understand if we don't have an economic base in our own neighborhood that we can begin to pull and pour our money into so that those businesses can begin to expand and flourish and we can begin to close the circuit, that when we spend our money in a business in our neighborhood, that money is able to be, funneled back into the neighborhood, as that business enjoys the support of the people in that neighborhood, that business is then able to begin to funnel a percentage of the money that comes into it back into the neighborhood to help in community improvement projects. This is how our neighborhoods are to be stabilized if they are ever to be stabilized, and I can hear people already talking about, well, brother Mike, we had that going on with Black Wall Street and things of that nature, and it was destroyed and whatnot. Yo, man, you have to continue to strive to get right, no matter what the obstacle is in your way, an outside obstacle or inside obstacle. So tonight, in this brief message, I'm talking about an inside obstacle, If you are a black businessman, especially if you represent the spirit and culture, of Mother Africa, especially if you represent yourself in the vein of black nationalism, that we should be in some type of ownership of our politics and our business. You can't sit on your high horse, man. And when members of the community come up in the establishment to spend their hard-earned money, you can't sit up on your high horse and not make those people feel welcome in your establishment, man. You know what I mean? Knowing how important it is for us to have a stake in our politics and our economics as a people so that we can begin to build some relative power, and say so in the areas that we live in, so that we can begin to pull that support and help to transform it into opportunities, employment opportunities. We can again begin to transform it into, like I said, closing the circuit where that money that we put into the business can be redistributed into community improvement projects, of safety and security and mentoring and counseling. You know what I mean? Some of that money can be redistributed into helping some of the people in the neighborhoods who want to take advantage of higher learning, where you can help to provide scholarships and other things. You know what I mean? For the people who live in the neighborhood. Because if we don't do that, every time I come into a place like, Brooklyn or Harlem or up in the Bronx where I live, wherever black people live in general, man, you see more and more buildings being knocked down, businesses that have been there for 10, 20 years, a lot of times, man, just disappear overnight. And something else is thrown up, and somebody else is running the business that doesn't live in the neighborhood that business is located in, man. And other races and ethnicities, man, in this experiment called America, man, they don't allow that type of stuff to go down in their neighborhoods. They control the economics, they control the politics, and they also control the social hegemony. The social control of those neighborhoods are controlled by those distinct racial ethnic groups. It's only when you come to the black community, man, that you see, everybody else in control of the politics, everybody else in control of the economics, and you see people who are down and out suffering, man, because they have no say-so in their own neighborhoods. You know what I mean? So this has to stop, man. This has to stop. And some people might get mad at me for calling this out, but it has to be called out, And I'm going through special pains right now, not to say any particular names, but I want to send out a broad general call to action, for the black businesses in our neighborhoods, man. You have to make the black people in those neighborhoods feel welcome. You have to do more to help to educate the black people on the reason why they should come into your business and support it. You should not be sitting up on your high horse as if you're doing someone a favor. Like I said again, the best relationships are reciprocal. They're mutually supportive. So we need black businesses that we can fund with our money. You know what I mean? So that we can begin to expect a redistribution, a percentage of some of that wealth to be funneled back into the neighborhoods so that we can begin to stabilize our neighborhoods. And if you are a black business, the only way you're going to survive is you gotta work to improve the relationship between yourself and the black people. You know that we've been miseducated. You know that we have been taught to hate ourselves. You know what I mean? You know that we have been taught that the white man's ice is colder. You know what I mean? And I'm trying not to make this a racial thing. I'm trying to make this a common sense thing. We need to have more control over the businesses and the politics in our own neighborhoods. You know what I mean? And it's a mutual, reciprocal relationship that's needed between the black people and the black businesses in their neighborhoods. You can't sit back and say nobody is supporting you if when they come through your doors, you make them feel like they don't belong. You know what I mean? Or that, they're being taken for granted. So having said that, man, I spoke long enough on this. Holla if you hear me, man. Let me know what you think about what I just said. Peace and elevation.